My name is Kiunuhe. I'm a partner at ALN Kenya. We at ALN, as lawyers, as professionals, and as individuals, we are standing in solidarity with this initiative of no more violence against women. And that's not because violence against men is not important. We believe that any form of gender-based violence should not be tolerated. But when you look at the statistics, violence against women is comparatively greater, and therefore the reason why it requires more attention. The statistics on violence against women have continued to escalate, particularly during the COVID pandemic. And there's a risk that they'll continue to do so in this country as we head towards the national elections next year. Whilst there isn't up-to-date national data on the prevalence of domestic violence against women in Kenya, based on the last set of official statistics, if I recall, approximately 41% of women have reported having experienced physical or sexual violence at least once in their lifetime, some more than once. Those are staggering statistics. A lot has been said about this topic, but clearly there hasn't been enough impact. Otherwise, we would be hearing less and less of such incidents. So what do we need to do? I believe we need to take real action in order to bring meaningful change. Number one is that the government has an obligation to prevent, to tackle, and to redress violence against women. We must put in place the adequate laws, adequate systems, and adequate policies to support the affected women and girls. But in addition to the government, even we as individuals have our role to play. In addition to the government efforts, I believe there's need for a systemic change, a cultural change, a change in the mindset in our society. We need to create and to encourage an environment in which affected women are able to come forward and to seek help without any fear of retribution. If there's going to be change, the change begins with each one of us. And so my challenge to you as we commemorate this International Day of No More Violence Against Women is that you should seek to educate at least one other person on why violence against women must be stopped. And if you know of any woman or any girl who is affected, because the reality is that these people who are affected are living and working amongst us, please don't turn a blind eye. Take it upon yourself to reach out to them, help them, or connect them to the help that they need. Because it's only if we see this problem as our individual and our collective responsibility that we can finally put a stop to violence against women.
Hello everyone, my name is Sonal and I'm with ALN Kenya, based in Nairobi. ALN says no more to violence against women. Violence against women and girls is one of the most pervasive violations of human rights. Globally, it is estimated that 1 in 3 women will experience physical or sexual abuse in their lifetime. Since its outbreak, the COVID-19 pandemic, which necessitated measures such as restricted movement and home isolation, created an ideal environment which intensified violence against women and girls. It is for this reason that the Canadian Women's Foundation, a public foundation dedicated to advancing women's equality, launched the One Hand Signal for help to help victims of violence communicate that they are in danger and in need of help in a discreet manner, without alerting their abusers or leaving a digital trace. The signal for help is performed by raising your hand up with your thumb tucked into your palm, then folding your fingers down symbolically, trapping your thumb in your fingers and repeating the process. Since its launch and popularization, the International Signal for Help has been going viral over the last 1 year, and for the right reasons. Earlier this month, in the most celebrated case of its use, a missing 16-year-old girl in Kentucky was rescued after using the signal for help. For the signal to have the desired results, people must be able to recognize it and act appropriately. This is why it is critical that we create awareness about the signal for it to serve as a useful tool for victims. While we need a lot more than a hand gesture to fight violence against women and girls, the signal for help is one tool that victims of violence can use. By learning, sharing, paying attention to the people around us, and responding to the international signal for help, we can play a part in combating the fight against violence. Let's spread the word in Kenya and the rest of Africa.
I am Luisa. I am a partner at Anjarwalla Khanna, ALN Kenya. We at ALN oppose any form of violence against women, and we encourage people to speak up. Violence against women can take many forms. One of the more pervasive forms is sexual harassment and sexual exploitation. In fact, a report just published by the UN Women, which was based on a survey that was conducted across 13 countries across the world, revealed that over the last year, 1 out of 2 women have reported experiencing some form of violence against them, either directly or indirectly. And the second most common form of such violence was sexual harassment at 40%. And sexual harassment can take many forms, and it can impact women in the formal economy, in any sector, in any type of job, and of any age. The effects of sexual harassment in women bring devastating impacts to their mental well-being and to their mental health, and it will make it very difficult to achieve equality. Instances of sexual harassment and in the workplace are too pervasive. And in fact, this type of risk and exploitation is one that we're seeing increasingly based on the investigations that we as A&K forensics have had to conduct over the last year. We have seen a significant increase in these types of investigations over time. And this type of violence at work creates a significant problem for women who are trying to progress through their professional journeys. And while the Me Too movement has brought a lot of visibility to this problem and has brought it to the fore, a lot remains to be done. Collectively, we need to address this issue by ensuring that it isn't caused by a lack of leadership or legal frameworks or a lack of enforcement. These institutions that are at risk need to ensure that safeguarding measures are implemented and that they are serious about enforcement. And to make sure that the right processes and systems are in place, we as A&K assist organizations and institutions in ensuring that the process is conducted in a way that is systematic and involves the right professionals, which normally include human rights and human resources specialists, employment law specialists, investigators, forensic analysts, and compliance specialists. As ALN, we will continue to oppose violence against women, and we will continue to support organizations in their fight against this type of violence.
So what we in the Commonwealth were absolutely clear about is we were saying no more to violence against women, no more to sexual abuse, no more to our children being made dysfunctional by the terror of living it, but no more for our men as well. Because if you are a man who has given love and attention to your daughter, your cousin, your friend, and you see another man abusing that person, it is soul destroying. But also, regrettably, violence can come the other way as well from women. So we are saying no more to all of it, but not just saying it. We've been saying, okay, so what are we going to do to be the difference that we need to see in the world? And so we came up with the Commonwealth Says No More campaign. And we've pooled all the knowledge, all the expertise, all the information, what works, what doesn't work. What do you do if you're somebody who you're an innocent bystander and you see something happening? So many of us say, but I don't know what to do. How can I do it? How can I make a difference? Well, on the Commonwealth Says No More, it tells you this is what you can do. What can I do if I'm a school? What am I going to do if I'm in the medical profession? What do I do if I'm a government department? What do I do if I'm a local authority? What do I do if I'm a family member? All of those what do I do's we've tried to answer in our Commonwealth Says No More campaign. So we want to put the tools into the hands of the people who do want to do something to better enable them to do it, so that we will share our knowledge, our expertise of what works and what doesn't work, and we will be the difference that we need to make to keep women and girls safe in our world. And it's working. So it's a matter of great pride and joy to me to see all across our Commonwealth, there are Commonwealth Says No More campaigns, and women and men are coming together to end this scourge of violence, which is polluting our world, making our children's lives miserable, and children who grow up in these circumstances, they don't thrive, or they don't thrive as well as they should, and life is more difficult. And life, I think, is difficult enough. So I think it's up to all of us to make it better. We can save lives, but the great thing is we can also save money, because what we're finding is the cost economically of domestic violence is huge, and we are wasting, in 2016 they said it was 1.5 trillion that we were wasting as a result of domestic violence. So if we save on the violence, if we save these lives, we're also going to save money, we're going to help our economies, and we're going to be a lot better off. So there's a lot we can do, and I'm very proud as Secretary General to be able to have launched the Commonwealth Says No More, but I'm even prouder of what everyone's doing with it, because they're really using it as a creative tool to be the difference.
Beyond that, you will see that in some places they call it's a submarine activity. The female genital mutilation is not something that is done in the open. And things that are done in the hidden like that are very difficult to fetch out and to address. We have started working with men. Reason being, women are caught only because the marriage market is for the demand for marriage is for caught women in those communities. So if you, instead of acting on the offer of caught women, you can also work on the demand side of caught women. And if the demand side reduces, the interest of caughting will also reduce. Now, in terms of looking at legislation, most countries have legislation in place. At least there's been that advance. And then people initially have started using the difference of law or implementing between one country to the other, where you see someone will go on vacation, and when they come back, they are caught.
Okay.
And then there was no cooperation between countries like you have for crimes. For other crimes, you have like, if you kill somebody on the other side, they package you and they send you back. But when you caught, it's very difficult to. So that is the type of investments that we are making, discussing with governments. And we have to also say that the African Union has done a lot in ensuring that member states adhere to some standards. And that's why they have special envoys for violence against women, and she also takes care of FGM so the framework legislatively is improving dramatically, but the implementation, as I said, for some other thing, for customary and traditional, etc. And we've seen some countries that are advanced. For instance, in West Africa, a country like Benin has decided that the punishment for witnesses will be exactly the same as the punishment for actors. And they are looking at a legislation at the moment to see how we can so that. Number two, that the withdrawal of complaint would not stop action.
Okay.
You see, because even if someone is raped and they say, okay, I don't, no, it's a crime and the state has to pursue the crime because it's exactly, if someone kills your father, the government will not stop acting because you say, I forgive him.
The challenge there obviously is the main, the complainant is the main witness in the prosecution. So it's complicated to say that you proceed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's everybody, including the medical doctor that intervened, everybody has responsibility.
Yes.
And the legislation, take an example, when there's a road accident and you bring anybody to the hospital, the doctor, they have forms to fill to send to the police immediately.
Yes.
So if you are a doctor and a woman is brought to you and you see obviously that this is violence against women, but in a lot of countries, you don't have any obligation as a doctor.
Yes.
Meanwhile, for a road accident, you have the obligation. Your license will be removed if you don't call the police immediately to say we have this accident on the road. So that is the type of thing that we want to mirror in terms of GBV, also in terms of female genital mutilation.
Interesting.